Welcome back into Fox Weather. We are still within a tornado-warned storm. They didn't downstream issue the warning, but they did downstream issue a severe thunderstorm warning, and that severe thunderstorm warning is oriented more so to the east. So is that a sign that maybe we're looking at our right mover? Possibly. But we have been looking at our Fox Weather beast and our temperatures, analyzing it. 76 degrees, dew point of 68. It's not bad, but it's also not as great as it once was, a little bit further back towards our southwest into Sulphur, where temperatures were into the 90s, our dew points were into the mid-upper 70s even in some spots. So that was a little more of the bullseye zone. Still yet to be seen if this storm is going to latch to the boundary or not. But the good news is we are tracking another storm that's developed near Davis, and that one's moving due east, if not slightly northeast. Right now we're positioning ourselves near the Ada area, trying to avoid our hail core because there likely is one as this storm continues to move east. And then potentially we'll be diving due south to get closer to that secondary storm that might have a better chance at latching. But that's where we're at. So we're close to Ada. But notice again that severe thunderstorm warning box, it does include Stonewall. So if this thing really does start to take that southern turn, it'll be very interesting to see what happens next. Another thing too is notice how we have that light green shade that's nudging north. It's getting sucked into the inflow of this and could potentially be the nudge it needs to get some rotation. Again, this is just the first cell that's caught our eye, and we're not totally sold. I would say I was 90, now I'm at 80% sold on this, so confidence going down just a little bit, but we're gonna stick with it. Showing you what we've got out of our roof camera in the Fox Weather Beast. This is a lot of cloud cover, some rain now starting to hit the windshield. We are approximately, let me just double check. We are just west of Ada, so we are right on that precip cusp. It's about to get going, but we have to make sure that we, instead of continuing to pull north, we have to stay due east and moving towards the east, so we stay south of that hail core. But it does seem like our temperature is still holding steady. 76, dew point 68, relative humidity 77%. So not bad. I don't hate it right now, but nothing clear cut in terms of supercell structure that tells me tornado imminent, but it is definitely working in a good parameter space with a lot of wind shear. And again, if it can latch onto this boundary, it'll be off to the races. But we're still not counting ourselves out, Jane, for some of the other storms that are starting to fire. We have that severe thunderstorm warning and that tornado warning in Wichita Falls. Some folks are really sold on that Texas threat along the dry line, and I can totally understand why, especially seeing how this storm is fired. Okay.
To the southeast of Ada to ride along with this
Okay.
severe thunderstorm warning bias.
Okay, so just Jared helping out with a little bit of information. We are now going to be still moving towards the Ada general area, but we are going to dive more so towards our southeast, towards Stonewall, kind of keeping in line with the severe thunderstorm warned box within our tornado warning that we're tracking here in Oklahoma. It's just too far for us to get into Texas, so as much as I do believe in that tornado threat there, I also believe in the one that we're crashing on right now. But also, heads up for any Fox Weather viewers, we are in and out of good and bad service, so Jane, I'm sure we're keeping you on your toes because we may be crashing out every now and again, but here we go. We are now in the heart of the storm track right now.
Yeah, it's definitely underway right now as we kind of continue to follow these two zones. Chris Scragg just came on set. Ari's getting ready to come on at 8 o'clock, and I just asked him, I said, so are you team warm front or team dry line? To see which one is really going to be kind of the primary focus for the tornadic potential and that kind of threshold for seeing more intense storms. I'm looking at radar too, and I think what's so impressive is, gosh, these storms that develop along the dry line, this one near Wichita Falls, very slow moving, and in fact the destructive tag being issued there is very notable for up to baseball sized hail. Look at the outflow boundary that has just been pushed from this storm, right? So you're talking about that colder, dense air that is rushing out, that almost kind of gust front that's going to kick back to the west. We do have, a couple storms beginning to fire now to the north of the Oklahoma border, where from Temple to Foster, west of the I-35. They are severe warned, but right now I think in terms of all of the storms that we've had up to this point, and we've got a number That one near Wichita Falls definitely had the more intense signature for the tornado threat. So treating it very seriously. I do think it's cycling a bit right now, and so I wouldn't be surprised if maybe in another couple of minutes, if not 5 to 10 minutes, we could see it strengthen yet again. But looking at this storm out of Ada, so right now, looking to see again if it's going to take that turn to the right. Largely speaking, it'll be an interesting case study on whether or not that boundary is really going to really anchor itself as something for us to watch. I think what we have also seen is a thunderstorm north of the warm front, now crossing over the Oklahoma border into Arkansas. This has been a sustained supercell. It's been south of all the action, but it definitely is something that we're watching very closely because that warning extended into Arkansas. Notable because, still capable of producing a tornado, even though it's on the elevated side of the storm. I think right now the National Weather Service highlighting that with this particular storm, even though it kind of has that classic structure, we're sampling more of the mid-levels of the storm itself. And so not exactly convinced that we're looking at surface-based rotation, but it's definitely rotating and producing that hail potential as that starts to come down with this storm. But all it takes right now, just looking here, a decent signature north of Black Fork that has my attention, circling it, and then you take a look at the reflectivity to see if maybe that's close to where we're looking at, and you have the inflow right here, and then where you would anticipate to see the possibility of a tornado would probably be right about in that zone. So I think taking a look at the velocity scans and what you see on reflectivity, definitely something that we'll have to monitor closely, I think, across the border into Arkansas. So that's one storm. This is actually the storm, Haley, that warranted the extension of that tornado watch into western Arkansas, south of the I-40 corridor, right up to about the I-30, that I think for the next couple of hours, maybe it's this one supercell, maybe another one develops, but it's definitely going to be the one that could produce that tornadic threat as we head into the overnight.